Yo, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to another video, and in this video I'll show you the 5 first things that you should learn in Affinity Designer just to get you up and running and designing. And if you're new here, my name is John. I do logo and identity system design, and I also create those cool YouTube videos for you to learn from and design along with me. So let's get into our top 5. The first one on the list should be knowing what Affinity Designer is. So what is Affinity Designer? Affinity Designer is a super quick, super fast, super flexible and beautifully designed application which lets you create vectors and edit vectors. It's very powerful when it comes to that, and it also gives you the ability to add in pixel textures and pixel retouching. And if you don't fully understand what I mean, that's fine. This is why I'll show you exactly what I meant in step 2. But before I do that, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more graphic design content. Sorry I have to do you dirty like this, it's just what the algorithm wants apparently. Me saying it in the middle of the video. Anyway, so number 2 on the list is the Affinity Designer personas. If you look on the screen, up in the left hand corner, we got 3 things up here. And this is what Affinity Designer is most well known for. You got 3 personas. One is called the designer persona, which lets you edit vectors. The second one is a pixel persona, and as it sounds, it lets you edit in the pixel persona, which is more like Photoshop. So it lets you use rasterized brushes, do sort of rasterized photo retouching. It's quite powerful. And then the last one is the export persona, where it allows you to export selected areas of your work and, you know, export it. So now that you know what each persona does, let's jump into step number 3 and show you how to create your document and create your artboards and get you started in it. So the first time you open the software is going to look a little bit like this. Right, so from here, all you have to do is just click new document, and then you can select your document. So if you're working on an A3 or A4, you got press ready, you got photo, web, devices, architectural. So you got everything ready there for you to create your document, okay? So let's select one, and then I'll show you how to work with artboards. Also make sure you have the right DPI and you're working your dimensions and the right color space for yourself, okay? So let's hit create, and then you're like, I don't actually need to work within this limited space, because if you can see, if I create a shape and then move it to the side, I can't actually see it anymore. Right? Because this is not an artboard, it's a document size. So let's say you want to work in artboards and I want to create a 2000 by 2000, right? Like this, and then you can actually see your shapes as well. How do you do that? So let's go back. Right here in the toolbox and by the side, you have something called artboards. And if you zoom out, you can actually create different artboards. So let's go 1000 and 100, okay? You can create your artboards, and if you want to resize them exactly, you can just go down here in the corner and go 1080, right? Let's say you're creating an Instagram post or something. There you go. You can have a 1080 by 1080 millimeters. No thanks, mate. Pixels. Just make sure when you have your document, you actually work in pixels. Pixels. Awesome. So then I can select my artboard and go 1080 by 1080. Awesome. Here's our Instagram post. And then let's say you're creating multiple, you can just duplicate it or create new ones. And this is how you create artboards and work using artboards in Affinity Designer. And as you can see, I can also drag them out and work. Let's actually put a black fill on this. I can work around and, you know, work as you would work in Illustrator. Well, I'm starting to talk a little bit weird because I'm running out of things to say, which means it's time to move to item number 4, which is actually moving around your document and moving around your, you know, assets. How do you do that? Because it's a little bit different than Adobe Illustrator, Figma, Photoshop, right? The first thing I want you to do is go to Affinity Designer, go to Preferences, and go to Tools, okay? So you're gonna see this, and if you don't see this, just click this button here and it takes you to the main menu. Go to Tools, and there's Enable Canvas Rotation. I want you to deselect both of them, because if you don't, this is going to happen when you go into the software. If you hold down Command and scroll, your canvas is going to start to turn wherever your cursor is. And this might sound cool and useful. Believe me, it's not. It's a pain in the ass, because then if you want to go to the normal rotation, you have to click and go reset rotation. This is so annoying that I actually had to create a new keyboard shortcut with Shift R in order to reset my rotation, because it became really annoying. Let me just go close the door. Okay, awesome. So, Affinity Designer, Preferences, and you go to Tools, and you turn that off. And then you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to create special shortcut settings and stuff like that. Just don't worry about that. Just turn it off. It's a pain. Okay, and then to zoom out, you hold down Option and scroll. And to pan, you might think it's Command, because that's what Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop uses, but no, it's actually Shift, the same as Figma, in order to pan. Okay. So now that you have this down, you should be able to move around your document quite easily. You know, go as far as you need without a problem, and be able to zoom in and zoom out effortlessly. And that takes me to item number 5 on the list, which is just like the basic tools and things that you should know in order to get you creating. Okay, so the first thing, if you press V on the keyboard, is the selection tool. Okay, this is mostly what you're gonna use when you move stuff around and when you're moving around. Okay, the second thing here in the box is the artboard. We already talked about this. This is how you create your artboard. The third thing is the node selection tool. So let's create a quick shape with using the pen tool. Okay, so you can see with the normal selection, you can't actually select anything. So you have to go to node selection tool and do it this way. And then if you long press this, you have the option to go to point transform tool. Okay, and this lets you select one point and transform your shape this way around its center. Okay, so let's delete that shape. Right, next one down is the contour tool. So let's grab a shape and grab the contour tool and drag out. You see exactly what it does. You have just a contour and you can have edges on it. Awesome. Moving along, I won't go into detail in any of the tools. This is for future things, but for now I'll just show you how everything works so you can start creating quickly. Okay, next one down is the corner tool. This only takes your corner and you can round it off like this. Cool. Right, next one down is the pen tool. You should know how to use the pen tool, but if you're completely new to graphic design and the software, I will be putting out a video in the future on how to use the pen tool and how to use the shapes into more detail. Anyway, moving down from the pen tool, you have the pencil, which is pretty straightforward. It works exactly the same as any other software. Then you have a vector brush. Vector brushes are really useful. I would recommend actually going and learning how to use those properly. Then going down from there, we have our gradient tool, which does exactly what you think it does. It just sets gradients, and then you can go and edit your gradient and your appearance. There we are. Awesome. And you can actually select different colors as well. I said I won't go in detail, but I can't help myself. Anyway, moving along. Then you have your transparency tool, which creates a transparency gradient. There we go. Then you have a image placement tool, which this is very different than everything else. So this is a logo that I made before. And in order to place the image, this is really revolutionary in my opinion. You just click and drag, and this makes so much sense. And you don't have to worry about the images going out of whack, because you can always select your scale here. So you know the scale is too big, which means the image is going to be pixelated when you print it. And then you have a vector crop tool. So the vector crop tool lets you actually crop vectors without having to rasterize it and do all that jazz. You can literally just crop it down. Super simple, move it around, do what you want, and it stays a vector. Then you have your shape creation tool. Just create shapes, circles, around the square, stars, and in order to get the other shapes, you just click and you have so many shapes. Okay, super simple. Then you have your text tool, which all you have to do is just drag, and then you can start typing. Or let's create ourselves a path. There we go. You can select the artistic frame tool, click on the path, then you can write on the path, right? Super easy. Then you have your eyedropper, hand tool to move around, and zoom tool. Cool. Everyone happy with that? Awesome. Let's move across the top. Super quick. The most essential things is order tool to move stuff behind and in front. Let's duplicate this image. Right. You can move it behind. You can move it in front. And one increment. Awesome. This is the mirroring tool. And then rotation tool. Then order tool. You know, you can move it in the side, on the edges. Awesome. And then vertically as well. And then the last one, it's the shape builder tool. Let's grab two shapes and then combine them together, right? Then you can subtract. Again, I'm assuming you have a little bit of experience with Adobe Illustrator. You just need a quick start in here. So this is gonna be for now. This was everything you would need to know, and this is exactly what I wish to know when I first started in Affinity Designer. If I had this video when I first started, this meant that I could start creating straight away. And this is what I want you to do now. Take the tips, go in Affinity Designer and spend a couple of hours in it. Create a logo for Rubik's Cube, I don't know. Just create something that can give you the experience and start moving around and find out what you actually like to do, okay? And also, if you made it this far in this video, go drop a like below. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know what else you need help with in the comments. If you need more help on the pen tool, then let me know. If you need more help in just understanding how to build shapes, please let me know. It would be my pleasure to actually help you with this. Right, anyway, until next time. Jesus. All right, anyway, until next time, it was a pleasure to see you. Take care, go build.